This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you,
Doing
Abe?
well.
Good. Michael, it's interesting to see you in this role. I've been watching you for years, and I've always appreciated your work, and you bring an unnerving sort of gentleness to this part, and I'm curious about how you felt about the idea of playing the part and what you wanted to make sure to do and not do with it.
Oh, that's such a great way to put it. That's really interesting. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, which is not the same as Chicago, but there's kind of a Rust Belt Midwestern similarity. And so I was immediately drawn into kind of the folksy kind of charm, for lack of a better word, that Gacy could have in interviews, and how kind of unsettling that was, how sort of uh, normal he seemed at times. And I was interested how someone who came off so kind of non-threatening in interviews could do such horrible, horrific acts. And so for me, an early way in was realizing that he just wore these masks, that he had these different personalities. And he would talk about it in interviews, that there were these various versions, there were these different Johns, and that he could, almost like an actor, kind of like call them up at will. They were just different characters that he had at his disposal. And so for me, that was just something I was really interested in. The idea that someone doing these horrific things could be your next door neighbor and just hiding in plain sight. Yeah.
And Patrick, where had you seen Michael before where you felt like he was definitely the right fit for this part?
Oh, I mean, I always talk about the fact that his body of work speaks for itself. His talent speaks for itself. And the idea that Michael would A, meet with me, and B, actually want to follow through and play the part. I mean, that's not really, it's not a huge leap on my part to think that maybe he should play this role. But when we first met, my primary objective was just to see two things. Number one, do I want to hang out with him on set a lot? And the answer to that very quickly was 100%. And number two is, are we aligned with what the vision of the show was meant to be, which was that we were really trying to focus it on the families, the police, the lawyers, and ultimately the victim stories. And again, that was another thing that was in our first conversation that was sort of dispelled right away. He jumped in the pool with me from the top, and I talk about this a lot, where I like to consider the actors that I work with as partners, not as some sort of like easily breakable thing. And Michael has been a partner of mine from the very beginning on this, and he was a partner behind the scenes. He was a leader on set, keeping things as much of a collegial and as uplifting of a time as we could possibly have on these sets. And so I couldn't imagine it any other way. And if there was some other way, I don't want to know about
Thanks,
I
man.
I know, Patrick, you've also worked, the girl from Plainville, Dr. Death, other true crime that you've adapted. And would like to know from both of you, what was important to you here about making sure that this wasn't sensationalizing the content, but instead providing an important tribute to, well, I guess you tell me what was important to you.
it.
Well, I mean, to echo what Patrick just said, I was hesitant to get involved, and my agent knows Patrick and said, "Take this meeting because I think he's a good guy." And my spidey sense is that he's going to be telling this story in a different way, because I didn't want to do anything that was sensationalizing Gacy or glorifying Gacy, of course, in any way. Um, and right away, I was put at ease because we were on the same page, and Patrick told me that there wouldn't be any gratuitous violence or murder shown on screen, that was a real hard line for him. And so that put me at ease right away. And then this idea that most of the episodes have these, what we call short stories in them, where you meet some of Gacy's victims before they ever cross paths with John Gacy. So you get to know them independent of these horrific crimes that they are now associated with. So that really was a new take that I'd never sort of seen or heard before, and that really drew me in right away. Um,
I'm not adding to that. That's perfect. That's it.
you feel like this is the kind of show that people should really try to, space out a little bit, or it's better that maybe they'll watch it all in one fell swoop?
I don't know. I think that that's a very individual decision to make. I will say that I think regardless of how they choose to consume it, that it is going to feel different
Yeah.
than other true crime that they've watched, including my own past shows, which I have a great deal of respect for and admiration of the things that I've been lucky to be a part of. But this is definitely, we talk about it, that's a little bit of an experiment. It's a little bit of almost a sociological experiment, because people do say, rightfully so, that we need to focus on the victims and not glorify and not be salacious and not be gratuitous. But we also know, with absolute all due respect to other shows, that they work, that consumers consume them. This is going to be sort of a test to see if they will also want to take their foot off the accelerator a little bit and really live in these people's stories. And my hope is that regardless of their consumption, that they are intrigued by it, that they are entertained by it, but more than anything, that they sort of realize that there's more to the story than John Wayne Gacy. That if you want to investigate more about this case, investigate the names of the people who were left behind.
Absolutely. I would just like to add to that, I also hope for folks who would hear about this show and be like, oh, I can't watch that. I don't watch those kind of shows. I don't watch serial killer shows. But this is a different kind of serial killer show. And so that, maybe give it a chance, because it's not going to be gory, or it's not going to be scary in the way that you think. It's a different take on these kind of stories.
Well, thank you both so much.